In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Sunlu ABS Like Resin because a load of you in the comments told me on some of my other resin reviews that I needed to try it out. So I picked up a whole bunch of it and went absolutely wild with all the stuff that I printed off. Now I bought this resin myself, it's not been sent over to me by Sunlu, but just for full disclosure, they have sent me other resins in the past as well, so just bear that in mind when you watch this video. Do my best to obviously keep it nice and impartial, but here we go. So this resin was recommended to me by a load of you in the comments beforehand. Loads of people have told me about it as well. I tried a whole bunch of different ABS like resins and they seem to be getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and better and better and better in terms of quality. So when I saw how much it cost me to get like a big old 3 kg bottle of resin from Sunlu, the ABS type stuff, I went wild and I bought loads of it and I figured I'll just print off loads of these Grimguard models. Now, first off, the quality is really, really good. The finish of these models looks absolutely exceptional. I'm really, really impressed with the finish and everything else there, so no complaints with that. I printed off a whole range of different things just to try it out. So right down from your tiny little men up to things like a tank and also this Jeep as well. So I did a whole load of these from Station Forge and I absolutely love them. Now, one thing that I did notice in some like the bigger vehicles, for example, I'm going to excuse the tank for not necessarily being the best quality because I messed up in the slicer and I auto-arranged them and it like touched all the bits onto the actual build plate. So that caused a bit of an issue there. However, these I did manage to print off properly. And I printed off, I think it was about 4 or 5 of these originally. But I found that on a lot of like the longer panels, for example, there was a lot more warping that I would like. So around the panels when I was then trying to put them all together, because this comes off in a whole load of pieces, only about 2 out of 5 of them came off, in my opinion, as something that would be really usable. So I had a lot of spare parts from that, which is a bit of a shame because obviously apart from that, it's a really good resin. So it is really good quality. I'm really impressed with that. But I did find that, at least in my experience with the settings that I was using, I found it a little bit harder when it came to some of the larger prints and stuff like that to then stick them all together afterwards. And I found a little bit more warping than I would like, but with some tinkering and stuff like that, you can still get some really good prints when it comes to that. And they do fit together eventually. So quality-wise, they are really good. But the question you'll be asking is how well do they perform when it comes to tiny little miniatures? So again, for my drop test, I use these 1-page Reels Demons because they've got so many little fiddly and spindly bits on there, and I drop them from 3 different heights. Your basic coffee table height, your gaming table height, and then your top tier shelf height. I will have all the heights on screen for you to have a look at, and basically I print off 15 demons and I drop 5 from each height and see how many of them make it through. Now, durability wise, this did actually really well. So on the lower height, 5 out of 5 of the demons survived, which is a good start. On the medium height, 4 out of 5 of the demons survived, which again, really well. And then on the top shelf height, 4 out of 5 of those demons survived. So when it comes to flexibility and durability, dropping these isn't too much of an issue. Obviously, you don't want to do that, but at least you know that if you do knock them off like a gaming table, the vast majority of the time, they're probably going to survive. Again, as you can see in the B-roll here, I've done loads of painting on these as well, and the resin took paint perfectly fine. It's not yet been an issue, but one day it might be. So painting onto these with a primer, and then obviously using your paints and stuff like that works perfectly fine. So all in all, I am really impressed. I'm glad that everybody suggested that I try this out as well, because it's a nice, affordable budget resin. In terms of durability and flexibility, it's not quite up there with some of the other ones that I've tested in the past, but it's not far off. And when it comes to that price difference, because some of those ones that I have tested in the past do outperform it when it comes to durability, but they are like double or triple the price when it comes down to it. So I'm really impressed with this because it is like dirt cheap. It's like basically now on par with all like the standard resins and stuff like that. So there's almost no reason to go for like the standard resins when you can get something like this. The only thing that I would say is when it comes to printing off larger things that need to then be pieced together, is worthwhile bearing in mind that, like I said, I didn't get perfect prints with that and I had to do a lot more fiddling with it. So even when I was getting all the little minis printed well, I was still getting some warping issues there. So again, bear that in mind. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously, a lot of you clearly use this because you all told me to try it out, but I am really impressed with it. If you're printing off a whole bunch of like little tiny miniatures, for example, and you want to have all of that for a decent price with some decent durability, you can't really go too far wrong with that. And then if you were printing off things like terrain or vehicles or bits that you then needed to piece together, you could use something like a standard resin instead, and they tend to be much better when it comes to warping. So yeah, really impressed with it. So thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Fingers crossed I don't fling this at the camera. Ta-ra for now, bye!